Welcome to the Spencer Files. I'm your host, Edward J. LeClaire, or as some of my family and friends call me, EJ. This podcast is the beginning of a story that I've waited 7 years to tell. Over the coming episodes, I'll take you deep into a true and personal journey, one that exposes betrayal within a family, financial deception, quiet manipulation, and eventually, outright violence. What started as a loving, close-knit group turned into something that none of us expected. Courtroom battles, secret legal maneuvers, and fractured relationships that may never heal. You'll hear how my Aunt Melissa and her then-husband, Darren, accepted what may have appeared to be generous gifts from my grandparents, including down payments for houses, cars, even a $60,000 boat, but which may have actually involved theft, embezzlement, or undue influence. Money was moved, records were hidden, and decisions were made without proper disclosure or family agreement. You'll hear how Darren, once my dad's best friend, physically assaulted me on the very day my grandmother died, as her body was being removed from the house, while I was fulfilling one of the hardest requests I have ever received, keeping my grandfather from seeing her like that, a request that he made to me personally. You'll hear about frivolous lawsuits filed against me and my family, attempts to interfere with property and inheritance, and a $1 million car accident settlement that was quietly diverted behind the scenes, without family knowledge or consent. It's taken me 7 years to fully understand, process, and piece this story together. Now, I'm ready to share it. This is not about revenge. This is about setting the record straight. Before we begin, I need to be clear. This podcast is based on my personal experiences, beliefs, and opinions. The events, people, and facts I discussed are based on my firsthand knowledge and publicly available information, including court records and family communications. All parties mentioned are presumed innocent of any crimes unless found guilty in a court of law. I am not a lawyer, and nothing in this podcast should be interpreted as legal advice. My goal is not to defame or harm anyone, only to share what happened from my perspective and allow you to draw your own conclusions. If you're still listening, thank you. You're about to hear the full story. No filters, no spin, just what happened, and it all begins at my grandparents' house, where everything used to feel safe. Episode 1, The House That Built Me. I loved spending time at my grandparents' house. I spent nearly every weekend there growing up, so their home always felt like a second home to me, maybe even more than that. My grandfather, Chet, is a retired LAPD commander. He served the city for over 30 years. His memory is unbelievable, the kind of memory where he can describe an entire scene from 1976, tell you the street that he was on, the exact date, who was there. All the meanwhile, I'm lucky if I remembered to put on matching shoes that morning. He's sharp, and he always has been. We used to have big family get-togethers all the time. Every birthday, every holiday. Everyone came together. But lately, those gatherings have started to fade. Something had changed. Looking back now, I realize none of us understood just how bad things had gotten, or that someone in the family might be capable of something as horrifying as murdering their own mother. Let me explain. My parents were very close with my Aunt Melissa and Uncle Darren. Darren was my dad's best friend. Melissa is my mom's younger sister. They vacationed together, spent time at the family's shared house in Bass Lake, and my dad helped Darren with multiple improvements on the place regularly. The house itself was purchased by Melissa and Darren with a huge assist from my grandparents, Chet and Lois Spencer. Chet personally put down 28% of the purchase, which was about $162,000 down. He also bought a $60,000 boat for the whole family to enjoy, though he never actually used it, except oddly enough when someone wanted to take a video of him driving it for show. That's the kind of man my grandfather Chet is. Generous, selfless. He's one of my heroes. He's always taking care of people, whether it's helping them with school tuition, cars, houses, you name it. He just wants to help his family, and yet not everyone sees it that way. My mom, Kathy, is the oldest of 4 siblings. There's Scott, Wendy, and then Melissa. All of them, except my mom, received cars and homes from my grandparents. My mom always said that it didn't bother her, but let's be honest, I think it did. Anyone would feel something when they watch their siblings receive things that they didn't earn or deserve either, while you're left out. I think for her, it wasn't about the stuff. It was about people taking advantage of her dad's kindness. We all believed the Bass Lake House was meant for the whole family to enjoy, but that wasn't really true. Let's go back to January 14th, 2015. Chet and Lois were driving down Canaan Road in Oak Park when they were rear-ended by a distracted driver. Their car was pushed forward into the vehicle in front of them. Lois's iPhone went flying, cracked the windshield in front of her, and Chet was stunned and unresponsive at first. The driver who hit them actually pulled him out of the car and helped resuscitate him. Thank God he was okay. Lois, my grandmother, however, wasn't. They were both taken to Los Robles Medical Center in Thousand Oaks. A few hours later, they were released. No major injuries. We all breathed a sigh of relief. But we had no idea what that single accident would set in motion. Fast forward to July 22nd, 2015. Lois had lived with multiple sclerosis since the 1980s. After the accident, things changed. Her voice softened, her posture became strained, her neck tilted unnaturally to the right. I think it was a spasm that just never released. She was declining quickly. Eventually, she ended up in the ICU. Doctors didn't think she'd stay very long, but she also wasn't getting any better. One day while visiting, we noticed that she had lost a significant amount of weight. She looked frail, empty. We asked the nurses about it. The answer shook us. They told us someone had instructed them to stop Lois's feeding tube. No food, no water, for days. We were irate. We demanded answers. And it turned out, it was Melissa. Now, Melissa had Lois's medical power of attorney, and she had ordered them to withdraw care, to let her die. We went straight to my grandfather, Chet, who had no idea this was happening. Once we found out, we were able to reverse it. We got Lois back on her feeding tube, but something had shifted in all of us. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a warning. And it was only the beginning. For most of my life, I thought my family was solid. Sure, there were small rifts here and there, comments, whispers, side glances at gatherings, but, I figured that was normal. Every family has history. Every family has tension. But what I didn't know back then, that I know now, is that there was something much darker growing beneath the surface. Something that would tear us apart. Not all at once, but in waves. One betrayal at a time. See, after Lois recovered from the feeding tube incident, if you want to call it that, things didn't ever go back to normal. Melissa remained in control of much of Lois's care. She acted like the authority on everything, like no one else could possibly understand what Lois needed but her. She claimed to be protecting her, helping her. But behind the scenes, something else was happening. Melissa and Darren had strong ties to the credit union where Darren served as president and CEO. The same credit union would become key, not only for routine banking, but for large financial transactions. Quiet ones. The kind that didn't involve the whole family. The kind that no one really knew about or how to ask without stepping on toes. Melissa seemed to be consolidating power, financially and personally. And the rest of us, we were left on the outside looking in. Over the next few episodes, I'll walk you through exactly how that control evolved, and how it may have turned into a pattern of financial secrecy, hidden trusts, and family manipulation. You'll hear about $1 million settlement that was quietly handled with almost no family awareness. You'll hear how Lois's hospital stay became an opportunity, not a tragedy, and how the people who were supposed to be her protectors may have been protecting something else entirely. This podcast isn't just about money or property. It's about what happens when people use love as leverage and when trust becomes currency. Thanks for listening to this teaser of episode 1 of the Spencer Files. What you've just heard is only a preview, a glimpse into the story that spans years, multiple betrayals, and a series of legal and emotional battles that would change everything for me and my family. If you think you know how this ends, you don't. It's not over.